after that, he goes independent and he's doing what he's doing now, right? And, you know, like a person who's been kicked in the balls enough, now he's like, you get bullied when you're young, it turns you into a person that's not going to get bullied ever. He's not a fucking fight you want to pick in the media, dude. He is fucking undefeated in back and forths on video since he's been independent.
I can't believe that you are defending this. Shame on all of you who are defending this. Shame on every single one of you. Shame on every single fighter who's defending this. Shame on TBS if they're going to air that slap fighting league. And last I checked, you click on the link, it doesn't even go to anything anymore. So who the hell knows? Can you script it any worse? Shame on TBS if that's what you're going to do. Shame on TBS if you're going to air a slap fighting league, and shame on anyone who picks it up afterwards. After that, really?
So if you ask yourself why you love this sport, like why do you love this sport? If you love it like I do, and if you're watching MMA content right now in the dead zone, then you're probably like me. Now I love this sport because I love the human saga inside of it. It's like this very simple to understand representation of a person's entire life with the most dramatic stakes ever in these events, right? Like if you look at a person whose life's ambition it is to go be like a prosecutor in some city, and they go to school and they grind every single day to make sure that they get a 4.0 in high school. Then they go to some Ivy League school and they grind through all the years. And they go to law school and they grind. They get a clerkship or whatever, and that. Like there's such incredible nobility in that. And people who have that level of purpose, I'm incredibly envious of. Now, I'm not envious of them anymore because I have my own purpose now. I mean, like I know exactly what I'm doing, but I've lived where I didn't know what I wanted to do. And there's nothing more valuable than knowing exactly what you want to be and what you want to do. And the people that'll put in the work like year over year, day after day, and get to that goal, there's like nothing better than that. And the fight game is like this sporting event that represents this journey in life that people have, because all the guys you're looking at are the absolute elite of the elite that have put in all the work, that have been doing this their entire lives, who are the most talented, the best. It is the Ivy League, top law school of fighting. That's a bad example, but you understand what I'm saying. And you know what all of them are after? They all want to be the world champion. And so you get to watch this event in front of you where they're going to fight. They're going to get in a cage and fight for it. Okay? Like these guys in law, they're fighting for it too. But they're like, they're studying. They're all got to be better than the next guy. But the event to find out who's better is they go and they put a bunch of answers into a test. Where here, you're going to lock them in a cage and they're going to fight for it. They're going to fight for it. They're going to physically fight for it. And when you really wrap your brain around that, I don't understand how anyone could not see the sport as like the greatest thing that's ever happened, ever. It's literally like you've broken down a life journey into this super rudimentary thing that everyone can understand. Here they are. There's the belt. There's the goal. All of them are fighting for it. And that's why I love the sport. It's like the human saga that lives inside of it. And so that's why I have such a hard time like doing like really specific fight breakdowns, because it's like that's just like not what I watch them, of course, like I like watching them, but for me, I just don't feel like I have a lot to add there, because like what I see is the thing I'm talking about. So when it comes to this Dana and Ariel thing, dude, like I just watched Ariel's full response about the Dana slap. I hadn't watched it before just now. And that is exactly what you were just looking at. And the layers of depth underneath that were so crazy. I was just watching it and I have a feeling that people haven't really thought this through, because I haven't heard anybody talk about it. So I'm going to talk about it. And it was, I don't really have a proper word for it. The only way that I could basically communicate is just to talk through the entire thing. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm not even going to put a sponsor on this video. I'm just going to say on this channel, what we have like a handshake agreement that if you watch my content, please subscribe to the channel. It's free. You can watch all of my stuff. That's the cost, all my library of stuff. All you have to do is just click subscribe. It's free. It's a handshake. Candy jar at the front, take the candy, leave the quarter. Just don't be the prick that doesn't leave the quarter. And I very much appreciate it. I promise you, on my side, I am working as hard as I can to make the content as good as possible so that you are paid in full for your 1 second click. Anyway, so here's the thing, right? So if you look at Ariel's journey in the space, right? Because he has had the most visible journey in the MMA space of anybody if you really pay close attention, right? Like if you go back to like really go back, he created his own job. Like Ariel, God, for some reason I have a really hard time. Like I say their names interchanged when I'm talking about both of them. It's really annoying. I apologize. But Ariel seemed to always be at all these events. He used to go to like these tiny little events and just stick a microphone in people's face and then put it on YouTube. He just basically was like, man, there needs to be an MMA journalist. And he just started doing it. You know, I heard rumors about the money that he makes, which was good for a content creator for sure. And people were like, dude, he's making blah, blah, blah. You know, it had to do with this Patty Pimlet thing, which is also connected to this. You know, they're like, dude, Ariel's making blah. See, Ariel's making blah, blah, blah. Like, why doesn't he pay people for the interviews? Which, for the record, I will say again, is ridiculous and idiotic. I already discussed that in another video, how stupid that idea, just in terms of like the finances, makes no sense. But he deserves that money because he earned it, you know? And not to mention the things that he's dealt with on his way up, right? Like, you guys watch my channel. I've never said anything negative about Dana in terms of like basically anything. So this is just, I mean, this story is just what happened, right? This is just what happened. Ariel was the main MMA journalist. He treated the job like a genuine journalist, which is something that we are losing now in terms of mainstream journalism. Like why? Okay, unless there are things that I don't know about, which is totally possible, by the way. I mean, I have absolutely no idea, but there might be things that I don't know about. But as far as what I know about, the reason Dana hates Ariel is because he broke the Brock Lesnar fight, which, in fairness, I do understand why they were so mad about that. And I'll go over that again just to tell both sides of that story. But, you know, Dana had, like, Ariel had sources and, you know, he's breaking stories. And apparently Dana had asked him, like, don't do that anymore. Like, you know, when it comes to like fight announcements, do not break those stories if we haven't announced them yet, whatever. Right. And, you know, going back to the journalism thing, like, Ariel has always had a semi-combative approach towards Dana. Like, he's asked hard questions. He's picked at the organization. You know, he's questioned their, I don't know, motives or their business practices, etc. And candidly, so I completely understand why Dana's like, you know, fuck this guy. Of course, because he owns the company that's getting picked at. But that's what journalism actually is supposed to be. Like, journalists are supposed to be picking at institutions. They're supposed to be looking at the power bases and asking, well, why are you doing that? They're supposed to be asking them hard questions and holding their feet to the fire. That's what they're supposed to be doing. So, like, I can't tell this story and just act like Ariel is just being like a troublemaker over here when I understand what his mindset was, and simultaneously be one of the largest advocates of saying that, like, that's dead in the real world. That does not exist in mainstream media anymore. Doesn't exist. Can you think of any questions that you might want people to ask? I don't know. Pfizer, you know, any questions at all that, like, do you see any mainstream media outlets saying, hey, why do you need 75 years to release the data that you supposedly based all of your efficacy about the shot on? Why on earth would you need 75 fucking years for that? Riddle me that, you crook. You know what I mean? And so half the people watching this are going to be like, wait, what? That's bullshit. Google it. 75 years is what they asked for. Oh, I wonder why. Everyone will be dead, so then it won't matter. So that's what journalism is supposed to be. And if you are one of those journalists, they kick you out of mainstream media now because they're all owned by these six. It's literally every mainstream media outlet is owned by these same six organizations that all are connected to BlackRock and Vanguard. Sorry, I'm sprawling. But so he's doing what a journalist is supposed to do, right? So he breaks the Brock Lesnar story. And that apparently was like the thing that kicked off the really serious rift between these guys or whatever, where Dana took his press pass and said he's blackballed, headshot to his career, yada, yada. Now, again, in fairness to the organization, because now we're going to get into a second section of, I don't even know what to call it, but like an open attempt to destroy Ariel's career comes after this, right? When Ariel is like working for other organizations. So we're going to get to that in a second. But in fairness about the Brock Lesnar thing, I don't have any idea. Like, I'm not even going to pretend to know the details on Ariel's side. What I can tell you is that a thing like Brock Lesnar's coming to UFC 200 or whatever, I think it was UFC 200. The amount of work that went into that deal was probably astronomical. And also, I guarantee there was, well, I don't even guarantee, for 100% sure, there was an enormous team that was working on the strategy, all the content, all the media, all the press, everything relating to how they were going to roll this information out, like how they were going to let the world know Brock's coming. It was going to be this huge, curtain drop fucking fireworks, like Brock Lesnar. He was the biggest draw they ever had at the time, right? So like that was going to be this huge thing, this huge event, how they were going to announce it, that they had put 1 million man hours into, right? And so Ariel going out and tweeting like, hey, Brock Lesnar is fighting at UFC 200. That was a serious problem. Like that he undermined an enormous amount of work that these guys did. Now, whether he did it on purpose or not is not the point. That's not the point at all. He didn't, I'm sure he didn't do it on purpose. He seems like he seems like a guy who likes picking at, like he seems like a fucking journalist. And I guarantee if it was like, hey, Ariel, here's the team that's been working on this for 3 weeks. All they've been doing, here's all the work they did. Would you want to get the clout and just kill everything these guys have been doing? I'm sure he wouldn't have done it. But again, I don't know the details of this thing. I just know for sure that happened over here. And I'm sure that that's why Dana was so pissed. So whether Dana had reason to be pissed, and again, I'm sure a million things happen behind the scenes, but then you get into this other section of the story, right? Now, I think it's fair to say that after this slap incident, people are reluctant to be hypercritical of Dana, obviously. Okay. Now that's for a couple reasons, right? Number one, okay, any sport where there are, a sport that has the magnitude of the UFC, MMA, whatever, there's going to be a lot of people whose lives rely on their financial lives, everything about their professional life relies on being involved in this sport, right? Dana is the czar of this sport, okay? He's the czar. There's no person in any other sport that has the juice and the power that Dana does in MMA. There's not a person that does. There's just not, dude. There's just not. And he's also a person, like I've said, when I talk about why I've admired him so much as he is the pinnacle of what I would want to, in terms of being an entrepreneur. Like he says whatever the fuck he wants. He does whatever he wants. He has total control of his world. I'm not talking about fight or pay. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about his ability to control all of the things around, take care of the people that he wants to, say whatever he wants in the media. Mostly he gets to say whatever he wants in the media, because that's such a huge indicator of like total freedom. He can say whatever he wants. He says whatever he wants, dude. Bob Arum is a fucking piece of shit in an ESPN press conference. He built the thing from nothing. He built it from nothing. Nothing. I heard someone, actually, you know what? I think it was Ariel, actually. Ariel goes, what else has he been successful in besides the UFC? You're all, that criticism, and I'm about to give Ariel tremendous props shortly, so just take this with a grain of salt. But that might be the dumbest critique in the history of the world. What else has Michael Jordan been good at, if it was just aside from basketball? They're like, he's the greatest basketball player of all time. They're all, yeah, but like, what else has he succeeded at? You're all, I don't know. I don't think it really matters. But like, the bottom line is everyone knows who Dana is too. He is, you know exactly who that guy is. Like, you know exactly who he is. If you're his friend, he's going to be a real good friend to you. If you're his enemy, opposite, right? Opposite. And I can tell you with absolute certainty that what Dana's doing right now is he's laying low, he's letting this thing blow over, and he's watching. He's watching. I would guarantee you that. I mean, I don't know if I doubt he's watching my channel, but he's watching everybody else. And if you think he's going to forget what people say about him at this point, you're crazy. You're crazy. Because look at how he handled the Ariel thing. Once he decided Ariel's on the outs, now we get into the next phase of this story. So Ariel, as a journalist, a sports journalist, you know, gets it. And I'm sure there's a million things in between these. He gets a job at ESPN, which of course, as a person who holds a microphone for a living and hands it to an athlete, that's the pinnacle of where you can get to. He gets a gig at ESPN and Dana torpedoes it. Dana goes to ESPN. People says, I want him gone. I want that guy gone. And again, not knowing any of the other backstory stuff, I'm in no position to judge Dana's, reasons for wanting to do that because I don't know. There has to be information I don't have. But I'm just talking about the saga of Ariel's career, exactly like I was talking about with like the attorneys and what they're doing. Ariel's battle is crystal clear. He created his job out of nothing. Okay. He knew what he wanted to be. Exactly like the lawyers I was talking about, and exactly like the fighters. He knew what he wanted to be. He wanted to be the biggest. He wanted to be what he is. And so when you get to ESPN, that is like the pinnacle of where you can aspire to be. And so to get there and then have the boss of the world come and chop your legs out from under you is, I can't even imagine what that must have felt like, dude. After already getting his press pass pulled and, having, that it's a headshot, he's done all that, and thinking that all of his work, from 2000, I don't even know when it started, like 2008, I think. Like, I think he was seriously doing this in like 2007, 2008, something like that. And forgive me, it might even be earlier than that. And then you get to 2016 where he's like pretty, he's a big deal by then. And then to have your credentials pulled and your career's over, he cries on air and all that stuff. It's like, well, yeah, dude, like he cried on air because okay. If a person works their entire life to get a title shot and then they lose, do you judge them if they cry in the locker room? You know what I mean? Like, I would think it's fucking weird if they didn't. I remember when Cormier cried after the John Jones fight, the second one, and people, man, Jesus, you're lucky I didn't have a big fucking YouTube. Man, I wonder if I could dig that up, dude. I did a video, cause that's when I had I started sporadically just posting shit on YouTube. Then I didn't understand what it'd take to build. Like I did it just that year. I probably put up a total of like 10 videos that year. And man, I did a video after people were making fun of Cormier for crying after the John Jones fight. And you guys know me, dude. Try to fucking imagine. I was a fucking hydrogen bomb, dude. I couldn't even see straight. I was so fucking mad because people kept sending me this fucking meme of him crying and clowning on him. And I was like, just like I'm communicating to you, like, how do I view this sport? And like, Cormier, that guy when he was still in his career, the gravity of that loss, fucking memeing that, dude. So that's Ariel's situation right there. Headshot to your career. I mean, it's worse. It's worse. It's like if he lost to John Jones and they were like, you could never fight again either. So you take that, and it's this parallel kind of thing to what the fighters go through. And then he gets to ESPN and he chops his legs off, right? And then every single step from there, Dana is systematically, intentionally trying to pull his card and get him to where he can't do what he's trying to do. And again, listen, I'm just going to be straight with you guys. I am an incredibly vindictive person, dude. Like if I am the most generous fucking person on earth, as a million of you guys can attest to. My response rate in my email, which I get a million emails, is fucking like 96%, dude. If I didn't respond to you, that can only mean that I've already responded to you 58 times. And then, like you're like, there's no one who's like never gotten a response from me. There's like literally no one. And that's like, I don't have that much time. I do it because I'm incredibly generous with my time. I want to help people. They ask me questions. I try to help. And I approach my entire life like that. But if you fuck me over, if I treat you like that and then you fuck me, I'll never forget, dude. Never. Fucking never. And if I have any opportunity to fuck you in the future, I'll fuck the shit out of you. That's just the way that I am. Incredibly generous. Don't be on the wrong side of me if you don't want a lifelong enemy that will never forget and will look for ways to, exact revenge. It's just the way that I'm wired. Dana, listen, like, that's why I can't look at what he's doing and just go, I can't like chastise it, because if he has some kind of valid reason, I mean, I'm not even saying that there's like anything good or bad. It's just the way, like, I understand it. I understand being wired like that. I don't have any idea what Ariel did to earn that, whether it's still just this Brock Lesnar thing, but I'm not like throwing rocks at, it's just, I'm talking about Ariel in this story. And like to Ariel, I've never seen Ariel say like I've never understood the flack that he gets, dude. Like, in all honesty, I've never really understood it. Like in every exchange that I've watched, and you guys know I'm pretty good at this, dude. Like reading the people's energy and reading that, like Ariel to me just looked like he was more likely to he's a different person now, but early on he looked like a guy who was more likely to get his feelings hurt if you went at him than anything else. You know what I mean? Like, I think he really thought that he's like doing his job, right? Like he's pressing people, he's doing his job. Now he's a pot stirrer, of course, but that's like supposed to be what you're supposed to do, right? As a journalist. And then, so anyway, whatever. And so after that, he goes independent and he's doing what he's doing now, right? And, like a person who's been kicked in the balls enough, now he's like us, he's like us. You get bullied when you're young, it turns you into a person that's not going to get bullied ever. Like, he's not a fucking fight you want to pick in the media, dude. He is fucking undefeated in back and forths on video since he's been independent. But this thing with Dana is different, dude. Because, like I said, where nobody wants to go directly at Dana and say whatever. And I'll just say this, dude. I've said it before, I will say it again. Here is my opinion on the entire Dana saga. If I'm going to talk about this, I'll talk about it. Okay? You can't have any leeway on hitting girls, period. Like that, it's like I hate like just black and white rules, because I think they're stupid in almost every case. It's like, dude, we don't live in a black and white world. Like everything is nuanced. Like every single thing is nuanced, but not this. This is one of the only things where it's like, dude, you cannot have any leeway on it. You can never say it's okay. Like, it's not okay. It's never okay to hit a girl ever. You can't do it. You can't do it. You just can't do it. And the reason is because if you have a nuanced approach to what's okay and what's not, dude, the majority of people in this world are fucking retards. Idiots. Just idiots, dude. And so while I can have a nuanced conversation with someone about this, that, or the other, if all of a sudden there seems to be some gray area on this particular topic, girls get hurt bad by bad people who think that you've now condoned this is an acceptable way to go. Like, there has to be a hard and fast line, period. It's never okay. What he did isn't okay. He owned it that it wasn't okay. It's not okay. It's never okay. Now, that said, there are degrees of wrong, okay? We've already established it's wrong, dude. It's wrong. But once you're on the other side of wrong, it's like, okay, so what now then? What should the repercussions be? And it's like, okay, well, what exactly did he do? Like, what happened? It's like, well, he slapped his wife. It's like, all right, well, that's obviously wrong. It's like, all right, well, let's watch the video. It's like he's talking to her. She slaps him. He slaps her back literally like this. He wasn't trying to hurt her, obviously. It's on the, I mean, you can't hit your wife, man. Like, bottom line, you can't hit your wife. But again, if he was trying to hurt her, that's a different category. I saw a video last night. I can't talk about it yet, but this story is going to come out. I saw a video of someone. So I realized after watching this video, I've never seen real domestic violence before. Like I've never seen real, like, I mean, obviously I've seen like the Ray Rice in the elevator and all that. Like I've seen that kind of stuff, but I've never seen I don't even know what to call it. Like behind the scenes, like in someone's house when it's just a guy and his girl and a guy beating up a girl. I've never seen that before. And I saw a video last night of a person filming themselves beating up a girl. I can't shake it off, dude. Like I can't shake it. He's stomping his foot into her face, talking shit to her while he does it. It's insane, dude. It's fucking insane. And I can't shake it off, dude. I've never seen anything like that before. Like there are sick motherfuckers in this world, man. And my point is like, if I saw that video, like if I saw the video that I saw last night and that was my daughter under his foot, guy would fucking die. 100%. 100% die. We wouldn't have a conversation about it. No talk. We don't need to talk. I already know what the outcome is. If it was my daughter in the Dana video, we would have a very different conversation. You know what I mean? Like if that's my daughter, I would talk to her first. I would be like, look, dude, don't put me in a position, okay? Don't put me in a position where I have to make like excuses for people hitting you, okay? You can't just haul off and hit your husband, dude. Like you can't do that, okay? Now I'm gonna go talk to him, obviously, but what the fuck are you doing? You can't just hit your husband, dude. Like you can't just do that, okay? He can't hit you, you can't hit him. What the fuck are you doing? And then I would go to him and it would be like, look, dude, okay, you can't put your hands on my daughter ever. Okay, I know she hit you first, you can't do it. I appreciate you not trying to hurt her, but this is a one-time deal. Regardless, red line, never again. And that would be that. You know? Like, one guy, I would honest to God want to put in the ground. The other guy would be like, never again, dude. It's like, he wasn't trying to hurt her, dude. It matters. I put my kids into every single thing that I analyze like this. Anyway, so it is what it is. But on the Ariel thing, right? So in a lifelong saga where Ariel has been on the other side of someone in the most powerful position that anyone has ever been in a professional sport, who has it out for him, who's actively trying to destroy his career for all intents and purposes. And it's a person that everyone, like every other person in the media is literally like afraid to even say anything negative about because Dana's a fucking gangster, man. Like he just is, dude. They don't want to be on the wrong side of him. He's taking tabs right now. Guaranteed. You don't want to be on his list, dude. You don't. You just don't. And Ariel is the one guy. What's Dana going to do to him? What's Dana going to do to Ariel? And now, after all the shit that Dana put Ariel through, now it's fucking payback time. It's fucking payback time. And so when I watch that, I'm going to show you guys this. I'm going to show you guys. I'll have already put a clip at the beginning of this, but I'm going to show you another clip here.
Of all the things that Dana White has said about me, all the lies, all the insults, all the bullshit, all the nonsense, all the mean, vitriolic, disgusting things that he has said about me, for what? Side note, for what? For breaking some news? For getting it right? For not kissing his ass? For not cupping his balls? For what? Of all the things that he has said, there has only been one. There has only been one that has stuck with me, that hurt me right here that made me think a certain way that was like a spear in the heart. There has only been one that has stayed with me, that I can hear it in my brain. And that was back in 2016. That was back after the UFC 199 incident. That was a couple days after the unbanning. And Dana was on UFC Filtered with Norton and Sarah, and he was talking about this whole thing, and he was saying that I was, throwing a pity party for myself, and they were making fun of me, and he was talking about how I was a scumbag and a this and a that, and making and perpetuating these lies. And in the interview, which I'm not going to play, he was making fun of the fact that when I spoke about it on this show in a different studio, I got very emotional. And this is the one thing that when I saw it and when I heard it, I was like, fucking hell, I can't believe he went there. I can't believe he went to this level. I can't believe he stooped so low. Because again, you don't like me as a journalist, you don't like me as a host, you don't like me as a newsbreaker, fine. But you don't go to a certain level. That's what I've always believed. And that's what I've always tried to hold on to, no matter what, even though so many others have tried to make it personal. And in the interview with those guys, if you want to call it an interview, they were talking about me crying, and he said something to the effect of like that I look like a wuss, and your kids are going to see that. Your kids are going to see that one day. And how embarrassed they would be by seeing their father cry, by seeing their father get emotional after he was just, verbally assaulted, after other shit has happened, after he was told his career was over, after he was told that there was a bullet in his head that he was done. Your kids are going to see that. And I could not believe that he would go to that level, that he would talk about my family. That has stuck with me since 2016. That has always remained with me. That's the kind of person that he is. You don't talk about people's families. You don't talk about people's kids. You don't talk about any of that. That has always stuck with me. What are your kids going to say about that? And I'll be honest with you, when he said it, I thought to myself, what are my kids going to say about this? And I know what my kids are going to say. I know what they're going to say. I know forever that they're going to say that, I stood up for myself and I told the truth and all that stuff. I have nothing to be ashamed of. I have nothing to hide. But I've never forgotten it. And so on this day, I'll raise the same freaking question that he raised about me back in 2016. What are your kids going to say about you? What are your kids going to say about your legacy, about the way you treat fighters, about the way you treat people, about your business practices? What are your kids going to say about that video? What are your kids going to say about the kind of person that you are? What are your kids going to say about you? Ask yourself that fucking question. What are your kids going to say about you? Awards coming up. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back in a second.
Like, dude, Ariel, he went for the fucking jugular in multiple ways. He went after the slap league. He directly called out the slap league and the cable company. How could you possibly be associated with this? He tried to kill Dana's deal. He called out the media for covering for him. Then he called out Dana, and he called out, like, how is this going to look to your kids? That's the part where I was like, whoa. That's the part I'm going to show you. I'll either have shown it to you already or I'll show it right now. But that's the perfect metaphor for this entire thing. Dana said that about him in 2016. That's 6 fucking years ago. And it ate at him, dude. 6.5 years ago. And it just ate at Ariel. And 6.5 years later, now it's fucking payback time. And he has an enormous platform, and he's going to use it to just kick Dana while, like, Dana is in a vulnerable position right now. Ariel's going to unload everything he has on him. It's like a fucking, like a Greek, I don't know, like a Greek fucking, whatever you call him. Because, like, seriously, like, if I'm not mistaken, dude, I'm pretty sure that Ariel started like 2007. So you're talking like 16, I don't know what, I'm terrible at math right now for some reason, but like, I don't know, 16 years, 15, 16 years. A saga that's 16 years long where he was the guy on the defensive getting kicked around. He's like David and Goliath, dude. And if the slap league really gets pulled, which it looks like it actually might, if Ariel had anything to do with that, that's a big fucking deal, man. I don't know, man. It's like it's an identical metaphor to the entire kind of fight journey. Ariel, because no one has dealt with more shit to get to where he is than Ariel, specifically because of the kind of enemy that he had. And you know, like, and some of this stuff, like Patty, like, the whole thing with Patty, like, look, dude, Dana hates Ariel. The Patty Pimlet and Dana thing, like when they did that podcast, like, who cares what Dana said? Like, you know what I mean? He's a piece of shit. It's like, well, we know that that's his position. Patty's shit was like, wait, what? Like, why is he a piece of shit? Because I don't understand. Because because he's not paying fighters for interviews. Do any fighters get paid for interviews? I don't understand. And the thing is, dude, like Ariel fucking circa 2023, dude, that guy gets on the mic and fucking buries people. He really does, dude. He really, really does. But like, man, I'm forgetting about something. There was something I was like, what was it? I don't know. Bottom line is, I watched that and was like, man, that's a long time coming, dude. That's a long time coming. Because like, what I mean, if someone has, I knew it, dude. I knew it was something really, really, really fucking important. Okay, so here's the really important point, right? So I always look for, like, there are certain rules that I've learned. I don't know how old everyone thinks I am, but I'm old enough to have some fucking wisdom, especially when it comes to business. I've done a lot of things. And the one of the absolute most certain things that I'm most certain about is this. There is no money in enemies. None. There is no money in having enemies. Absolutely none. Zero. And there's really no money in having powerful enemies. Right? And the thing is sometimes someone can wrong you. And if you're a strategist like Dana or me, and you're pretty good at sizing up what the, like what's the strength of your opponent, right? Like, it's like, okay, they did this. Is this someone I should go at? What's the fallout? How could they hurt me? And then sometimes you go, they got nothing, there's no way they can come back on me. Oh, Fabia, I'll do 100 videos on him. What power is that guy ever going to have to hurt me? None. So you size up opponents and then you decide, okay, yeah, I'll go at that guy or I won't go at that guy because that's not an enemy I want. But there's never, like, there's no money in enemies, none. And Dana looked at Ariel like he was a fucking ant. Like, there's no way Ariel could ever hurt him. Because there's no way anyone could hurt him, right? Like, there's no way. I mean, Dana's, if it wasn't for this, Dana's in the most solidified. That's my whole point. That's why he's like my fucking business hero, is because there's no one who can hurt him. There's no one who could do anything. He's had this incident not happened, he is completely insulated from attacks. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? But he finds out that in some cases, even fucking pipsqueaks that you think are nobodies can fucking hurt you if they're your enemies. And it just validates what I'm saying. There's no fucking money in enemies. There's lots of money in having friends. There's no money in enemies. All they can do is hurt you. That's it. But it's really hard to go through an entire business life without getting enemies. But anyway, that's it. That is all I've got. So subscribe to the channel or whatnot if you haven't yet. If you got this far and haven't subscribed, come on.